nobody has a problem with the gun store as a concept. They just said this is appallingly bad taste to have it near a school. One father told the story about his child having just a traumatic episode even seeing it, because a lot of children have a lot of anxiety about this issue, understandably.
Now we're going to get to our regular Madison City Council report with our Madison City Council watcher, Tryston Gilbert. Tryston, welcome to the program. Appreciate your time.
Good morning, Jacob. Morning, Adam. Sorry I missed a month. I'm back now with 2 months of news to cover, so I'm going to try to get through it pretty fast, all right?
All right, sounds good. Yeah, so give us some of the top lines. What's going on in Madison City?
All right, well, first off, we've got the results of the special election that was held on May 9th. The city voted overwhelmingly to keep the mayor-council form of government. The result was about 3-1 against, if I remember correctly. I've got some thoughts about that. I still don't think it makes a huge difference which form of government the city works under. I think both kind of have pros and cons, as I've said before. I would have liked to have seen more of an effort by the proponents to actually defend their position. I saw a lot of road signs and billboards leading up to it saying vote no, and they had the much larger voice in the council meetings. I've heard from locals that the proponents, Madison Forward, I think it was, sent out a lot of mailers and attended some school-based events, but I really didn't see that much of them as things were heating up. So I feel like I showed a lot more clips of people who were against it, but that's just because there were more of them to show. I wasn't trying to be biased there. So yeah, we'll be mayor council town for probably at least another decade or so, maybe forever. Following that, the city's begun redistricting work. It's being drawn up by Slaughter and Associates, the legal firm who has done that for them before. And they're shooting to have 7 equal districts. I think that's the same as what they have now. I think it would have gone to 6 if it had become council manager. But it'll stay at 7. So that's that for that. My next item I want to talk about is some good news. I think I just confirmed this, that Madison is going to be getting a science museum. It's a biology and paleontology focused museum. So like dinosaurs, other prehistoric species, more of a biological bent, not your normal Huntsville, Madison rocket science. So a little bit of flavor, a little bit of spice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. It's being organized and built by a nonprofit, the Innovation for Education Foundation. Headed by one Joe Iacuzo. I got to see a bit of a work session where he was presenting his ideas. A bit of an eccentric, but who would you expect to start a science museum? He seems above board to me. At first, the council was concerned that the museum couldn't support itself financially. They were asking him for more detailed finances. He was saying that he couldn't get finance partners online until he had a building. He was seeking basically a building charter from the council down at the, there's a bunch of old hexagon buildings they bought near Town Madison, which is over by Zert, if you're familiar. And they're converting some of those. So he was trying to get one of those. And according to the All Things Madison website, it looks like that did happen and the project is underway. So they have a website called madscimuseum.org. That's MADSCI museum.org. If you want to find other information, donate to that. It's all there.
Awesome.
That was the good news. This next one gets a little dark. The second meeting in May was one of the most highly attended meetings I've seen since I've been watching. There were a lot of people who showed up to express their concerns or support for Rocket City Armory. Rocket City Armory is a new privately owned gun store. It either was just completed or is nearing completion here in town. And the problem with it is it's very close to an elementary school. I think somebody said like 600 feet. And so with people finally waking up to the epidemic of gun violence, but specifically in schools, a lot of parents were there expressing concern and asking that the city please do something about it. And then there were a lot of people there in support of the store and its owner, and there was a lot of back and forth. The reason that it hadn't been caught before, so the city has several sort of zoning, or they have like a zoning system set up where if a new business is under a certain size, just by area, I think it's 10,000 square feet is their limit. They can go through this whole process and it doesn't come to the council's desk because it's business as usual sort of thing. So they didn't really hear about it until parents of school children there started raising their concerns, and now it's turned into a whole big public argument.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of it's kind of wild that there are people that are supportive of that. I have no problem with gun stores existing in the same way that I have no problem with liquor stores existing. In fact, I would be a patron of both establishments, but I don't think it would be appropriate to have a liquor store 600 feet from an elementary school. And that doesn't make me, anti-beer or anti-liquor. I like beer, right? But there are some things that are just like, not appropriate for children. Why would we have it across from an elementary school? What are the arguments of people that want, a literal armory right next to their children?
Well, most of the people who are concerned about it, I share your position, really. Nobody has a problem with the gun store as a concept. Nobody has a problem with its owner. They just said this is appallingly bad taste to have it near a school. One father told the story about his child having just a traumatic episode even seeing it, because a lot of children have a lot of anxiety about this issue, understandably. They're smarter than people give them credit for. They know what kind of what kind of direction that the country is in. And then there were also some decent arguments on the people supporting it side. To be fair, I will give them. There were a lot of the regular sort of pro-business type people who were like, this shouldn't be the city's concern. This should be this business followed all the procedures and everything. It's done everything right, but. I'm going to stop being neutral here for a second. There were also a lot of really bad arguments on that side. A lot of people showed up to be character witnesses for the store's owner. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But nobody was besmirching the man. Nobody said he's a bad person.
To the issue.
Right.
Yeah, it's a structural problem. And I think to me, it highlights the general, conservatives don't like to see things as structures. They like stories of good people and bad people, and so they're saying this guy is a good person, and I don't disagree with him. He seemed like he's a veteran. He knows his way around firearms. It's a business. He seems to have overcome a lot of adversity to build that store. But could he have built it somewhere else? Is the question. So the character references were just missing the point. You also had some very overused arguments there. There was literally a lady who said the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is
a good guy with a gun.
Yeah, she said that, and I kind of tuned out at that point. So that's a thing that's happening. There's a lot of different people who spoke. I can't really drill down and give them full credit here. You should go watch the second May meeting on I Vote Madison's YouTube channel. They've still been faithfully logging these, and they have links in the description to each commenter, so you can jump to the ones you want to hear pretty quickly. But you should listen to all of them.
And shout out to I Vote Madison for doing that, by the way. That's a really great service.
Yeah. Apparently, I don't have the full breadth of the data here, but there was a petition signed that made it through in the council, or I think of the mayor's office actually were the ones who signed off on it, that they are going to ensure that there's going to be another SRO full-time at that school, which I don't know the acronym, but I know it's a security officer.
School resource officer, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
School resource officer,
and
okay.
They are police, they are active police. They are basically on loan from the police department to the school.
Well, yeah, it's not the solution I would have wanted, but I'm glad they're doing something. And the mayor had expressed in the first meeting that their hands are basically tied. They could use given precedent, they could use nuisance laws to revoke a business license, but they've only done that like once in the last decade, and that was for a juvenile detention center that had some breakouts in I think 2017. This is the first I heard about it, but if you want to talk about that.
I do recall that being a big, issue in the Madison community. A lot of people were concerned about safety, and so that I understand that would be a big deal for them to use that precedent, having rarely used it before.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to do that unless something tragic happens, and of course I hope it doesn't.
Right.
But I think if you're a gun person, you want to open a responsible store, please show a little discretion where you open it. Yeah, it's this is not great.
I think using some discretion and modesty there would display responsibility, and by locating it right across from the elementary school, sort of displays a lack of responsibility that I think probably feeds into parent concerns. Because I'm like you, Jacob. I'm a gun owner. I own multiple guns. I don't plan on giving them up anytime soon. No one's going to take them from me. So, I hear all that. To my conservative brothers and sisters out there who are packing, I get you. But, like Tryston said, this is pretty poor taste. I mean, and I like your analogy with the liquor store, Jacob. I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
I would not want the liquor store right across from the school, just like I wouldn't want the armory right across from the school. And it's just, that's sad that that's becoming an inflection point in the community. I hope that folks can talk through some solutions, but it sounds like maybe it's sort of past that point, and it just is what it is. It sounds like to me. I mean, is that fair enough, Tryston? That it's kind of already a done deal.
I think so. There's a lot of legal barriers to doing anything. And I think that the best case scenario is that nothing gets done because the precedents would mean something really horrible has happened. So
right.
I hope this is the last time we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Shop there if you want. I don't really care.
Yeah. So Tryston, in the last 3 or 4 minutes that we have you, any other kind of top lines to be looking out for in Madison City?
Well, June's been a lot more boring, so I can knock it out pretty quick. Madison Utilities is fixing a lot of road segments. There are old sewer trenches collapsing under roadways, so they go in, fix the trench, repave. There's just a lot of them to get to, so they're triaging it. If you've got a dip in your road nearby, it might be a minute because they've got a lot of these to get through. There are a lot of public comments about budgetary concerns. I think a lot of people don't. I think municipal budget sounds very expensive to a lot of people, but $1 million is not a huge thing for a city. But sometimes you'll see the council balk at larger numbers. Like there was a $3 million transfer by Director of Finance Roger Bellamy that Karen Denzine, councilwoman, was questioning. And he got pretty rude to her. At one point, he said something like, "Oh, I don't take orders from you," and just a real guy. That one is also clipped in on one of Madison or I Vote Madison's channels videos. There's been a lot of work by drainage teams in town with all the spring storms, so I want to give them a little bit of public applause. They've been keeping areas from flooding, keeping ditches updated, keeping ditches clear, all of that sort of thing. And the new community center is under construction that I mentioned several months ago. That was one of the mayor's office projects. The council has asked that people not walk onto the construction site if they're not actively, helping construct it. One of the public commenters, you can go watch to find out who was apparently the recipient of that comment. She'd been going out there onto the construction site. So, don't go out there unless you are like there as press or are building it. So.
All right. Well, that sounds like good advice.
Yeah, that's most of it. Yeah, there's more in the details. I recommend everybody go watch the streams. But I guess I'll see you guys next month. That's all I've got for now.
All right. Thanks, Tryston. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Peace.
really appreciate you. Thanks for keeping an eye on them.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.
Which side are you on?